the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. Thank you once and always, featured by Spotify and such. So it's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. Recording kind of on an odd day. Had to have a rare day off in the middle of the week because it's my niece's birthday. And let's just say my mom was really hoping I would take it off because her work hours and mine, it's just kind of, it's like when I'm off, she's on, that type of thing. So it's like, figure take a random weekday off. Not that I can't record mobile during the middle of the week and such, but, it is what it is. Really enjoying what I've been doing with this show. And, of course, Donald Trump continuing to dominate in the primaries and such. Yes, Nikki Haley got 43.3% of the votes, but that's because, how many Democrats in New Hampshire intentionally are voting for Nikki Haley to try to beat Trump? So that's actually what's going on. Records show that Nikki Haley, that actually more Democrats voted in this primary than Republicans. And yet still, that's how strong Trump stands. So looking good. Obviously, Ron DeSantis stepped down and endorsed Trump. That's awesome. Chris Christie's still there, apparently, and he's got 0.4%, 1,014 votes. Chris Christie kind of, I don't know. Vivek obviously stepped down, but again, like I was talking about, that was on the last episode, that he is a great prospect for the future. And I think Ron DeSantis officially becomes a great prospect for the future as well. So, yeah, we have a future in the Republican Party, whereas in the past it's it's awesome that we have Trump, but boy, you hope there's going to be some youth after Trump, because Trump can't be in office any longer than 4 potential years here coming forward. All that Q crap that he's going to get, he's going to get 8 years again. After they find out about the fraud, he has a chance to be eligible for 8 years. It's I don't know. So I don't buy into the Q stuff. So just so you know, maybe the first couple episodes or so of the show, way back at the beginning of the beginning of the show when I started in late 2020, I was talking about that. I was kind of oh yeah, this is interesting stuff, and it's no, it's a bunch of crap. Mike Pence, not even 1,000 votes, not even 400. And you know what? He doesn't deserve any. Screw Mike Pence. He stabbed us in the back. He stabbed us in the back. It's plain and simple back in 2020. And I thought he was a deep state plant the whole time. Anyway, you could kind of tell, and all the conspiracy stuff about, flies landing on people and such, it's it's a demonic presence. The fly can smell their demonic presence, that type of thing. And flies were landing on Mike Pence, when it was whoa. So that's kind of creepy stuff. It happened with Obama constantly as well. So maybe there is something to that. I don't know. I won't get too deep into that, but it's still at the same time. I don't know. I don't want to call Mike Pence a demon, but Obama, yeah. There was always flies flying around him, so don't be too surprised if there's something there. We did get a call from Ray Ferguson from Kentucky. Incredible calls. He is spectacular. And he also, again, the call came on January the 5th. So I'm really sorry. I deeply apologize to Ray, and I deeply apologize to the listeners as well for screwing that up. It's sometimes the emails just blend in, and that's on me, though. I mean, just look, dang it. That was kind of on me, so I deeply apologize. You got to look closer. If you look closely, you can see people's names. It's okay, yeah, Ray Ferguson. I mean, that's yeah. He's a name on Purple Mafia. No, he doesn't want to be on that show, as you'll hear. He's definitely a name here on Freedom of Thought, though. Definitely coming out of Kentucky. And you're going to hear from him very shortly about a lot of what we he's going to speak for us in a lot of ways, if you know what I mean. When you say something then the person's like, I was thinking the same thing, that kind of stuff. So it's really cool, obviously. Nikki Haley surprising with 43.3, but there's obviously Ron DeSantis and Vivek are out of the way. And of course, again, a ton of Democrats are voting for Nikki Haley just to try to, spite Trump, of course. They're not going to win. You're not going to win, Democrats. It's not going to happen without cheating. But, of course, they're already cheating, and still Donald Trump able to get 12 delegates to Nikki Haley's 9. So, obviously, the path to Donald Trump being the nominee are pretty much, I'd say it's pretty wide open in a lot of ways, because Nikki Haley's not a Republican. It's just that simple. So she's not. If Nikki Haley's are not a conservative, like an actual paleo-conservative Republican, she might be a neocon, like the Bush types and such. The Bushes, the Romneys, the McCains, who are about as good for this country as Bill Clinton. Pretty much. They're pretty much the same thing. So, thanks so much, H.W. Bush. We basically went from Clinton to Clinton in a lot of ways. It was like right away the vibe in this country was never the same. After Uncle Ronnie's time was up and he gave his closing speech, you could almost see tears in his eyes that day, like he knew. He knew. And of course he knew. He didn't want George H.W. Bush. He was pretty much forced to get George H.W. Bush in order to be the president of the United States. Otherwise, who knows, maybe George H.W. Bush would have been president then. But I don't think he was all that popular. George H.W. Bush doesn't identify with human beings. He identifies with, he identifies with multi-billionaires, and such. And it's not because I'm against the rich and all that, and he's for the rich guy. No, multi-billionaire Democrats, not just conservatives or such. No, like deep state multi-billionaires, that type. Like people also said, Ronald Reagan was for the rich guy. It's like, really? I don't know. I think he was for the Americans. That's what he was for, in a lot of ways. Obviously not perfect, and Trump obviously not perfect, especially because of the crappy cabinet that was kind of forced around him. Same thing with Ronald Reagan, the crappy cabinet that was forced around him, including a vice president in George H.W. Bush that might as well have been the Grim Reaper, for Pete's sake. Pretty much what he was, especially with all the secret societies he was involved in, along with George W. Bush and others and stuff. John Kerry and George W. Bush were both Skull and Bones members, and going in the same election, like, oh, yeah, I was in Skull and Bones. Like, yeah, like it's obvious, like still are in Skull and Bones. And that it's so secret, we can't talk about it. Like, screw you. You're not going to learn anything about it because we're not telling Nana Boo-Boo. Just an elite bunch of blankety blanks, basically. Fill in the curse words. Ray might give you a couple curse words. And I don't blame him one bit because there's a lot of frustration out there. I'm about ready to jump into the call right now. At the end of the day, there's probably a little bit of a mailbag coming up as well. Otherwise, I'm about to, let's just get to the call right now. Why wait any longer?
Hi, Joey. This is Ray from Kentucky, calling into the Freedom of Thought podcast. I want to wish you and all the listeners a happy 2024, and I appreciate the kind comments about my calls. I can't wait for the finale of 2024 because that means Donald John Trump will win his third presidential election. By the time that happens, it means we will truly have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. More importantly, our cryptocurrency will be restored and we can cash in our coins and become rich, while the Democrats cry after laughing at us for believing in cryptocurrency. It's time we launch all the Democrats to the sun and they never come back. But it better be a fair election and not the same rigged shit we saw in 2020 when they cheated with mail-in ballots and counted more votes after vote watchers left the building. And Democrats keep spewing false negativities about January 6th, when January 6th was truly a peaceful protest, unlike the summer riots we saw back in 2020. The sheep focused so much on January 6th, even though nothing bad happened and no one died, except for our lovely patriot Ashley Babbitt, who did nothing wrong. But trust me, if they thought January 6th was bad, there will be a January 6th 2.0 if they cheat. If they thought January 6th was bad, they better be ready for the next one. Speaking of rigged elections, it looks like we are already heading that way, with states removing Donald John Trump from the ballot. I'll tell you what, they're already scared and they are trying so hard to do whatever they can to prevent him from winning. But guess what? It ain't going to work. My president will soar above the haters and stand tall because that is what he does for this beautiful country. This gay-loving, woke liberal, anti-Christ communist country will turn back into a Christian conservative, mask-free country very soon. Donald John Trump had the most votes a sitting president ever got, and he will break records this election. I also want to dive into the comments Ron DeSanctimonious made when he called out Donald John Trump for not debating. What a sissy. Donald John Trump can do whatever he chooses to do. He doesn't have to listen to this loser. This is the same guy who begged Donald John Trump for an endorsement for governor, and now he wants to shit on him. Bullshit. Clearly, there is no loyalty among some of these fake conservatives. But hey, be careful what you wish for. Because if you really want Donald John Trump for a debate, he will eat you alive. And then you'll be crying for him to leave the debate. Irony comes in funny ways. Lastly, I want to applaud Aaron Rodgers for calling out that piece of shit Jimmy Kimmel for being on the Epstein list. Jimmy Kimmel is a bully and was never funny to begin with. His guests are only woke celebrities. Go figure. Kimmel cried like a little girl and threatened to sue Rodgers. What are you going to sue him for? His First Amendment rights? What a soft clown Jimmy Kimmel must be. While I do like Rodgers, I am going to continue to boycott the woke NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and hockey. And I will add the UFC to my boycott list after their fake conservative president, Dana White, decided to partner with Bud Light. I continue to watch college football and golf, sports where the athletes respect the United States of America. Trump, 2024, Ray from Kentucky signing off. God bless you, Joey.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much. Awesome call in, Ray. Really appreciate it. Always keep them coming. You know, people love it, and I love it. I love the call-ins very much. Yeah, I mean, interesting things to unpack, of course. Obviously, again, some of it's dated because of me. That's my own fault, like Ron DeSanctimonious and all that. Because luckily, he bowed out pretty early and endorsed Trump, so that's a good step in the right direction. I don't mean to be like Ron DeSantis is the greatest candidate and everything, but then again, he might be, well, maybe, hopefully he was just being competitive and not being stupid per se, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping for the best, I guess, but obviously I think Vivek is a better candidate of the future, if you know what I mean, like 2028, 2032, all that good stuff, depending on how much longer we're here before, you know, the Lord comes and takes us home, that type of thing. Cryptocurrency, kind of cool to hear you bring that up, right? Yeah, cryptocurrency is something I've definitely been interested in, and I do have holdings. So I had a little bit in Bitcoin for a while, but that was kind of too little too late. Like I was too late to the party, though of course that might shoot back up. Where people like Max Kaiser were talking like the thing's going to get to 250,000 a coin. It's at 40 right now as I'm looking at it on my crypto.com app. I've owned Dogecoin in the past. That one kind of, you know, again, I was too late to the party. That's the problem with me. Shiba, I made quite a bit. There's one called Shiba. That one's like way sub penny. I have the most holdings in that one, but it's also, again, it's super duper sub penny. I don't have a lot of money in it, but then again, if things indeed shoot up, yeah, it could be a spectacular situation. It did shoot up in a big way, and then right around the same time, our piece of shit Biden president, like you'd call him, basically said, I don't know, it was something, he was like, you know, talking about putting like stops and regulations on cryptocurrency, and then it was like right away the thing went from, let's just say, around $10,000 to like, you know, 2,000, 1,000. That's a pretty big drop. And, you know, being, yeah, just kind of the type of, sometimes, again, being late to things, I didn't protect my capital, though, of course, again, I would have been paying taxes up the butt, and that's part of the whole thing that Biden's all about in terms of hurting crypto traders and such. So hopefully, again, a Donald Trump presidency can bring this thing up to the moon. And my friend Paul Tuniverse Caniff, in case he's listening, would be really excited because I know he has quite a bit of holdings in Zombie. I believe it's called Zombie Inu. I think it's called that. It's got a chance to be way up there. Obviously, there's some really weird names, but it's not about the name. It's about the value and the share structure and all that. Because it's similar to stocks in terms of structure. Obviously, like like if there's 9 quadrillion, if there's 9 quadrillion in quote unquote circulation, it's not going to be worth a whole lot. But if it's brought down a bit, then just a few dollars can bring the thing up quickly, just like a stock. Like again, if there's 19 billion shares in a stock that's only $5 a share, it's not going to be worth a whole lot. When you put in $2,000, something like that, it's not going to really make it move at all. And then the hope is, you'd have to make like $1 trillion to get the thing to be worth anything. So like $1 trillion would have to be put into it. But I think you get the idea. I've babbled enough now. I'm babbling over everything here. Like the Jimmy Kimmel thing. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the guy, I never found him funny. And we're talking like way before I even knew he was this flaming liberal. I think he was on like Fox, NFL Fox or whatever for a while. It was something like that, like NFL Fox, whatever. And it's like, he's not really that funny. He's just kind of a dork, a dork, like not real interesting, that kind of thing. And then he becomes this night show host, and he's just a flaming liberal, and he's got a big mouth, and he's just, he's always been an asshole, basically. Now I'm getting really vulgar, but that's okay. Yes, we're Christian conservatives. Doesn't mean we're not Christian if we swear a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. Just nothing about him really made me say he's funny or fun or interesting at all. Sometimes Conan was fun, but I mean, yeah, he's not as political, but maybe I'm just being ignoramus, and he's insanely political, like ultra lefty. I know David Letterman was always spewing his big mouth. I couldn't stand David Letterman. Obviously, you go back to the legendary Johnny Carson, of course. You didn't hear as much. I'm sure he's left of center, was left of center, God rest his soul, but didn't really talk about it much. Al Pacino versus what's his face? What's that stupid guy? I'm seeing his face. Why is my name not? Why is it not coming out? Robert De Niro. Yeah, Robert De Niro and his gigantic mouth. And then you have Al Pacino, I've never heard him say one word about politics. So that might mean he's a closet conservative, quite possibly. Either that, or he just doesn't want to, doesn't want to annoy people. Doesn't want to make a jerk of himself. Kind of like what I talked about Paul Majors. He didn't say one word. Bob Costas was constantly leaving subtle shots, like both of them came on Dan Barrero locally here in the Twin Cities. Bob Costas, he's a famous play-by-play voice. A lot of you probably know that. And Paul Majors was a former news anchor here in KARE 11 and moved to Los Angeles, California. And both of them went on Barrero at different times. Bob Costas would take one subtle shot at conservatives and Trump after another and keep telling us about how objective he is. And he's just an objective person, and he's just an honest, he makes honest conversation. He's objective, where there was nothing objective about what he was saying. Paul Majors didn't say one word about it. Not one. Didn't take one shot. Pat Kessler constantly taking shots, and even though he tries to play, he's down the middle, or he's like an honest reporter type, when it's like, yeah, right, you're so freaking biased, it's not even funny. So stuff like that. Could drive you absolutely up the freaking wall. But no, that was an awesome call in, and kind of got me going with some of these, general celebrities and media members and such. It's so true. I still follow sports, even though I freaking feel sick half the time I'm watching. And stuff like TNT, whenever, I still remember years ago, around, I think, Trump was still in office. It was around that shut up and dribble time, around then. The famous shut up and dribble comment. That wasn't Trump, but Trump was in office. I'm saying about 50 times. That's good radio. But it was All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend, TNT, and it was like right away they started taking shots. And what was it, Ernie Johnson, on the condescending nature as to how she said it. It's just like, you know what, guys? Floop, off. I wanted to sit down, maybe watch for a little bit and then do something else. And then it's like, no, that's okay. I'm not going to sit down and watch for 5 seconds. I'm done. And I, made sure the channel was completely changed before I turned it off, just in case any Nielsen ratings would count on the little box here, the cable box. So it's like, no way. No bleeping way am I going to give them 1 ounce of my time or one single view. So the heck with that. That was garbage. And All-Star Weekend sucks anyway. It's all a bunch of crap. But once they start, taking shots at us, it's like I have no patience for it. Do I just come taking shots at people, or is it usually like some kind of a response to something? So I don't know. It's insanely frustrating. But at the same time, this is freedom of thought. Like, they want to go on a show that's political, that's political, that supports their view. Go for it. I just will not be interested. I don't go on Purple Mafia and running my mouth and shooting my mouth off on Purple Mafia or any other show. I'll leave hints in terms of like Merry Christmas, stuff like that, rather than Happy Holidays, which obviously people catch on to that pretty fast, actually. You'd be surprised, because so many people simply say Happy Holidays about everything, and there's lots of holidays in December. Oh, how inclusive of you. Oh, that's so great. No, it's actually excluding everybody. That's all you're really doing, and your whole goal is to get rid of Christmas. So that's kind of how things stand there. At the end of the day, no, I mean, I do think Trump gets reelected. It's just, again, there's always a fear. Obviously, yes, that was the other thing you brought up on the call was, states taking Trump off the ballot, and even Minnesota had conversations about that. That is, doesn't that seem illegal? I don't understand how that can even happen. It seems like we're in a fascist dictatorship. Like you're voting for Saddam Hussein or you're voting for Saddam Hussein. Like, say, back in Iraq, you could only vote for Saddam Hussein and you get like 98% of the vote because of that. It seems like that's what they want to lead towards. You're voting for Biden or voting for Biden. You're voting for, and if you don't, it's either it's a wasted vote or you're going to be threatened one way or another. It's going to be whoever the dictator is. And that's kind of what they seem to want. Obama staying in Washington, D.C., it just creeps me out beyond belief. The man is evil to the core. Evil, absolutely a demon-possessed person. And how people vote for him with such enthusiasm scares me at the end of the day. So with that, I'm going to check now into the mailbag a bit, if humanly possible. I believe, again, there is obviously the Facebook page, facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. I'm going to try to jump to the Instagram first. Of course, this obviously you have to hit that button like 10 times because I have multiple accounts to keep up with all the different podcasts. Freedom_of_thought 1776. Let's see any recent, and then the thing's acting up on me because, there is a couple comments. All right. So I do believe that would be Mark Carlson. Wait a minute. That's the old episode. I never put the new one up on Instagram. Oh, boy, man. I'm really on the ball, aren't I? Oh, why do you think I missed Ray's call a few weeks back? Wow, that's embarrassing. Yeah. Anyhow, it's one of those, I already did it. Yeah, sure I did. Sure I already did it. So now we'll try to get to the Facebook page if humanly possible. Yeah, again, facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. The heck is going on here? What the heck is this? No, I don't know. Yep, that was just the most recent episode and no comments. So that's kind of how that goes. So it's kind of like, again, responding to Ray and such. And again, the overall conversation going on in the political world and such. Not so much, again, I'm not so much into history and science and such on this episode, but those are coming back again. Don't worry. Sometimes it'll be half the show. Sometimes it'll be 3/4 of the show. But of course, in an election year, you're going to get at least conversations going forward. Obviously, I'm not breaking news. I'm not into breaking news. I'm into discussing news. Being a reporter would be fun, but I have to get paid to do that, I think, at the end of the day. And not just because I'm greedy or just, you have to get paid for it. No, I have to get paid to make a living, so I don't have time to be a reporter. That's the whole point. So I have to work instead of report necessarily. If I can be Johnny on the spot and update something live, so be it. Because that could happen, yes. But more or less, this is discussion and such more than live reporting. Discussion, commentary, this and that. Obviously, the giant petrified mushrooms, I think that was fascinating. Other, like giant bones found and such in so many different places. And strangely, how that kind of stuff gets covered up. Seems like the left wants to cover up everything outside of, trying to talk about evolution and such, where there is no evidence of evolution. There's no evidence of it. Maybe people's certain parts of people's body might change a tiny bit to the climate they're living in. I guess like adjusting, like you're more, susceptible to cold if you live in Vietnam for, like say your family's been in Vietnam for 3 generations, you might be more susceptible to cold, and here you might be more comfortable in the cold versus, you get hot real easy if you went to Vietnam, that kind of thing. So that's probably going on because, obviously I like cooler weather most of the time, generally speaking. I don't like hot and humid unless I'm in the pool. So things like that. That's where, again, the whole evolution and stuff, at the end of the day, there's literally no evidence to support it. And then when you see like giants and such, that supports the Bible, not evolution, because giants are in the Bible. They just simply are. Evidence of a massive flood that covered the earth. Evidence is all over the place that support that. Oh, darn, that's in the Bible too. So sorry to disappoint the atheist, agnostic liberals out there at the end of the day. So, and again, the other crazy thing that I brought up a while back is that December the 25th is the Nimrod's birthday, apparently. I don't know where people found that out, but if that is true, holy cow, oof, boy, the enemy's definitely going to use that as deception later on. It's the Lord, Christians are trying to cover up Nimrod's birthday with Jesus. Ooh, because, and unfortunately, again, Jesus' birthday is probably in April or September. Anyway, that's the hard part of things where the deception can really get real interesting in the future here. It scares the crap out of me, actually, but thankfully we have the Lord, though. We have the Lord's protection. And we are going to win in the end, regardless of how much damage these people are doing to our planet, our country, and our planet at the end of the day. So they're actually the ones doing the quote-unquote climate change by spraying the skies with chemicals. Yep. So that's a fact. We can see them doing it. It's happening. It's not the planes necessarily going out and drawing the sky with chalk or whatever. It's not that. It's what's in the fuel. It's what's in the exhaust. That's the whole point that they're, putting in there. So, and they're not hiding it. They're saying how it's to reflect the sun, and such to help prevent global warming and such. So I've gone down about 50 rat holes, but I suppose that's the kind of show this is. And it's about 20 minutes in or so. So, yep, just kind of, again, wanted to get caught up with things. And again, the election and such. So we're going to keep going with the primaries. I'll try to at least have discussions about them as we go forward and such. So who knows? I mean, there's constant talk that Biden's not going to even be the Democratic candidate, that it could be. This is another topic that's going to definitely get heavier and heavier. Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom. Here's the thing, and I do believe I mentioned this on a previous episode. At the end of the day, I'll believe it when I see it, because that just feels like more of that Q conversation where this is going to happen and that's going to happen and such. It might, but it hasn't, though. There's no real momentum towards any of that happening. And God help us if Michelle Obama is a candidate. Oh my goodness. Gavin Newsom is not good news at all. Michelle Obama, I mean, do we really need to bring more division into this country? Talk about divisive and division. Obama was so divisive, it's not even funny. So by the time Trump got in office, automatically anything regarding America First is an ultra racist, point of view, according to the masses, because they bought into Obama's BS at the end of the day. So where Trump could have been popular like Ronald Reagan in the 80s, easily, he would have been loved by both sides if people's minds weren't polluted with all the race baiting of Obama for 8 frickin' years. and Trump, and Clinton for 8 frickin' years as well. He certainly got the ball rolling a bit. Obviously, Obama threw gas on anything regarding race, and Biden has definitely helped as well, helping put in the boot on the throat, so to speak, of this country, financially, spiritually, in every way. Biden has been nothing but an assassin to this country. So with that said, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I think you get my points and such. Again, Ray, thank you so much. That was absolutely wonderful. God bless you. Shout out to Donna Aspinwall, regular listener from what I know, coming in out of the great city of Champlain. So yeah, I was almost blanking. Like it's not Brooklyn. Yeah, it's not. it's Champlain. She's moved a couple of times. Remember, there was like the edge of Brooklyn Park and Coon Rapids, I believe. So I believe she's in Champlain. So at the end of the day, so yeah, always hope everything is going well. Livia out in California, always a shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. I haven't heard from her in eons. Obviously Ray in Kentucky. Gerald in South Dakota now, not Nebraska. Mark in Iowa. Lee Hepner, Canada. Hope to hear from more and more of you. Introduce yourself. Call in like Ray did. It's not too hard to do. Basically, there's free voice recording apps on every smart device on the planet. That's a way to go about it. I do believe there's even a link to do voicemails as well on the podcast. I believe it's on there, but I don't know. I think the easier way to go about it is, it sounds like Ray. I don't even think that was a phone. That sounds like possibly like an actual editing and such. So editing software with like a real microphone. I mean, the audio is so good. It's unbelievable. Like Ray sounds like a radio host. He sounds like a real radio host. It's just outstanding. But whatever you use, yeah, if it's like something like Audacity, like I use with the microphone, or obviously the mobile device. On the mobile recordings, the audio is surprisingly pretty good on those as well. So you're more than welcome to do that. And then, of course, I will, if need be, convert the file into an MP3 file thanks to cloudconvert.com, which does an amazing job. With that said, have a wonderful few days here. I'll be back probably not too long from now to continue the election conversation and maybe some other interesting history topics that come up. Until then, and always, God bless the United States of America.